I've got some bad news for you. If you think you're going to buy a bunch of seeds, store them away in a drawer, and then when things get bad, you'll just plant them and start growing food, that's not how this works. Because gardening is really one of those skills that only gets better season by season. And if you wait until you actually need it to start learning, you're already too late. Now, looking back, the biggest mistake I made was not planting the wrong crops. It was simply not starting earlier. Over the last year, I've been trying to build a garden here that could actually produce real food. And to be honest, it failed. Rabbits destroyed entire beds, and then rats went after the things that rabbits left behind. We saw entire rows disappear overnight. And after months of frustration, I eventually discovered something that completely changed how I think about growing food at home. But I had to go through a lot of failure before that lesson finally clicked. If you're new here, my name is Chris, and I've been spending the last year and a half developing this property into an off-grid self-sufficient setup. Now, I made this video so you can learn from both my failures and my successes. But let's be honest, some of the best lessons we learn, they come from failure, and I'm not afraid to share mine here, so hopefully you can avoid some of the same mistakes I made. A little over a year ago, we fenced off this entire section of the property. It's about 3,500 square feet, and at the time, this area was completely empty. It was just bare dirt, no beds, nothing planted, just irrigation lines that we installed. And the idea was simple: section off an area and build a garden space that demonstrates how someone could produce food in a relatively small space, comparable to an average American backyard. And that part was intentional. The goal here was to build something that could be realistically replicated in a typical suburban yard. Not a fantasy setup, not a hobby garden that only works under perfect conditions. Something practical, something that could actually help a household become more capable over time. Now, I didn't grow up gardening. None of this was something I learned as a kid. Everything I'm doing out here is trial and error. And sometimes the only way you figure out what works is by discovering what doesn't work. In our area, we don't have usable soil, so we brought in soil. We installed a rain harvesting tank, a chicken coop and a run, irrigation lines, and built raised beds. And once everything was set up, we started planting. Now, naturally, you would assume that all this work would produce an amazing garden. Well, not exactly. The first round of crops actually looked promising. Everything started out green and healthy. And it was really the type of garden that makes you feel optimistic when you first plant it. But then something started happening. Plants that looked great one evening would be gone the next morning, and sometimes the leaves were completely gone. Other times the plants had been chewed down to little stubs just sticking out of the soil. And it looked like someone had taken a lawnmower through the beds overnight. Entire rows of healthy plants were suddenly wiped out. And at first, it was confusing. We had fencing around this entire area. We sprayed fox urine. We tried a number of the tricks that people recommended for keeping animals away. So everything should have been fine, right? But the more we looked at the damage, the more obvious it became that it wasn't a watering problem or a soil problem. Something was eating the garden. And eventually, we started noticing rabbit droppings around the beds. The bite marks on the leaves made it pretty obvious too. Rabbits had discovered the garden, and once they discovered it, they wiped it out in a matter of days. And honestly, when you step back and you look at the environment that we live in, it's not that surprising. This is a very dry region. There's not a lot of green vegetation around here. So when you suddenly create a green garden full of vegetables in the middle of that landscape, from the perspective of wildlife, it probably looks like an all-you-can-eat buffet. And we even have two Great Pyrenees dogs that patrol the property at night. They're amazing animals, and they do a great job keeping predators and intruders away. But somehow the rabbits still manage to sneak in and do their damage, and the rabbits weren't the only problem. Around the same time, we realized rats were getting into the garden beds and the house as well. And we eventually found where they were entering. It was through a small hole in the hot water heater closet, and we had to seal it up. And it became pretty clear that rodents were a bigger issue on the property than we had originally realized. So we started working on solving the problem. We tried traps, we tried sprays, we tried repellents and granules, and pretty much every rodent solution we could find. In fact, we even made an entire video about how to keep rodents out of the garden because we thought we had figured it out. But the truth is, our plans, they just didn't work very well. The rabbits and rats, they kept coming. And every time we planted something in the lower raised bed gardens, they would wipe it out. And what made it even more frustrating was that this didn't just happen once. We planted the garden back in the spring, and those beds were destroyed. Then we tried again in the fall, and the same thing happened. The lower beds were wiped out again. So we tried one more time. We replanted those beds with another round of starter plants and implemented all the rodent control solutions that we had been researching, and again, it failed. And that was honestly the moment when I personally got discouraged. You spend time building something like this, you spend money bringing in soil, installing irrigation, building beds, and then you watch the whole thing get eaten over and over again. There were moments where I walked out here and, to be honest, I wondered if it was even worth continuing. And I think that's the part people underestimate. It's not just that failure costs time or money, it also costs momentum. It makes you really doubt whether you can actually build anything that works. And that is exactly why starting early matters. When the stakes are still low, failure is frustrating, but when the stakes are high, failure is expensive. And these are not lessons that you can learn after all the chips are down. Eventually, I'll be honest, I just stepped away from the garden for a while. Over the fall and the winter, I let the chickens roam more freely in this area, and they basically leveled what was left in the beds. And at that point, the garden was pretty much abandoned. But something interesting had happened during all of this. Not everything failed. These two raised beds right here are about 29 inches tall, and the rodents didn't seem to get into these like they had in the shorter beds. Plants in these taller beds, they actually survived. Green onions, as you can see, did especially well. In fact, they were the only crop that seemed almost immune to everything. The rabbits didn't care for them, the rats didn't bother them, and even the chickens weren't really interested in them either. Apparently, green onions is just not on anyone's menu. And some of the peppers, they did well in these beds too. And at one point, we even had enough eggplant growing that we were planning on making a full eggplant parmesan video out of it. And that's when something started to click for me. The problem wasn't gardening. The problem was a system that we built. The shorter beds that we installed were simply too easy for the rats and rabbits to access. And they were basically sitting right at ground level, which made them the easiest target in the entire garden. But the taller beds created just enough separation that the animals couldn't easily reach them. And once that realization hit, after trial and error, everything started to make more sense. And it also reminded me of something important about learning skills like this. Capability, it compounds. Gardening is really one of those things where each season teaches you something new. One year it's about soil, another year it's about pests, another year is about timing, another year it's about layout. And little by little, if you stay with it, you stop guessing and you start building something that actually works. And that's really the difference between buying supplies and building capability. One gives you the feeling of preparation, the other gives you real options. And this is something a lot of people don't realize. When systems are running smoothly, you can afford to make mistakes while you're learning. But if you wait until you actually need these skills, that learning curve becomes a much bigger problem. In prepared households, they don't wait until systems are starting to strain learning skills like this. Let me repeat that. Prepared households, they don't wait until systems are strained to start learning systems like this. They start when mistakes are still affordable, when there's still room to adapt, and when one season can build on the next. So instead of giving up on the garden entirely, we decided to redesign it. The two shorter beds that failed, those we're going to remove. They served their purpose. They taught us what not to do. And in their place, we're going to install 4 new raised beds next week that match the ones that are successful. Each of these beds will be about 29 inches tall. And that extra height has made a big difference in protecting the crops from rodents. Now, of course, taller beds also mean we'll need more soil. We're going to reuse the soil from the old beds and then bring in additional soil to fill the new ones. And one thing that we discovered about the taller beds is that they drain extremely well, maybe a little too well. So this time around, we're going to be mixing in more native soil to help maintain moisture and keep nutrients from washing away too quickly. We're also going to be rebuilding the irrigation layout since the garden's entire structure is going to be changing. The watering system needs to change with it. And new beds, they mean new irrigation lines, new timers, and really a more efficient layout overall. And we're also making adjustments for the chickens. Our chickens absolutely love this garden. Whenever we let them roam freely, they immediately head straight for the beds. And if they can reach the plants, they're going to happily tear them apart. So we're going to be expanding their runs so they have more space to move around without turning the garden into their personal buffet. Now, this whole process has been a good reminder that preparedness, it's not about getting everything right the first time. It's about learning, adapting, and then improving over time. And that is exactly why preparedness works best when you start early. You learn the small lessons now while the stakes are low. You solve problems while systems are still working. You build stability before you're forced to depend on it. And over the last year, we've been documenting this entire process, the successes and the failures. And that's actually why we started building the Suburban Preppers Homestead program. The goal was to walk through the process step by step so people don't have to learn everything the hard way as we did. We're going to be releasing that program again at the beginning of April. And if you want to be the first to hear when the relaunch happens and to get a special rate, you can sign up for our newsletter below. But whether you learn from us or you start experimenting on your own, the most important thing is that you start. Because the best time to learn these skills is right now while the stakes are still low, while mistakes are still affordable, and while you still have time to improve season after season. Building stability at home, it happens gradually, one system at a time. As always, stay safe out there.